Hi guys, welcome again to Simplified RSA. We are the guys who makes it looks easy. So now here's the thing, ne? I've been wanting to start a topic on linear algebra, but then every time I want to start something like that, I feel like, yo, man, it's more difficult. Where do I start? How do I simplify it? And I realized that there's no easy way in or out, right? We're just gonna go ahead and do it. Now, linear algebra, it involves matrix and matrices if you are familiar with the subject. If not, then I'm telling you from today onwards, linear algebra, it's more about matrices. So we have a matrix if it's one. If it's a lot of those, they are matrices. And we have argumented matrix, the way they define it and the terms they use, which are big, but then that's not the point. The whole point is this is simplified RSA, and we are the guys who makes it looks easy. So my plan is to just to try to break it down for you to make it as easy as I can, even if it's the introduction today. I'm just gonna go straight to point. I'm just gonna try to chop it as small as I can to make it seem like, or not even make it seem like, I just want it to be easy for you so you can apply it when you're applying, when you are answering your question papers in future. Now, what is the matrix? Let's start from there. Let me walk you through this. For introduction, I just want to show you that it's not as hard as you think. From here, we have two equations, equation one and equation two. So there's this term they used under linear algebra. They call this system of linear equations. So we have equation one and equation two. Now, if I want to write this in a form of a matrix, I just take the coefficients. And remember, this is going to be a number, this is going to be a number. So it's ax plus by is equals to z. Z will be a number if this was a perfect linear equation. And also here we have cx plus dy is equals to r. If I want to write this in matrix form, I just take the coefficient. So it's going to be a, c, b, d, and then I can just show the result into these numbers like that. So this is me writing the system of linear equations in the form of matrix form. So this is a matrix. It's a one matrix. If I have many of these, that's when we call them matrices. Do you get where I'm going with this? So hear me out. I do understand that what I've just explained now, it may seem like another mountain to climb. One of the biggest things that makes mathematics to be a bit more complicated is because every now and then you have to apply different ways to solve something which you did yesterday. So hence there's calculus, there's like it's a whole lot of different concepts which ends up starting from when it all began, that 1 plus 1 was supposed to be equals to 2 in grade 1. And now everything just goes and become more complicated. Einstein once said everything should be as simple as possible, but not simpler. With that being said, let's go straight to this example. Now, this is an extraction of a linear algebra question paper. I just want us to go through this. So just like I said, on my side, obviously I have the question stored on my phone, but you will be seeing the question here, right? Question one reads, by the way, this is a question from a linear algebra question paper. So question one reads, consider the following system of linear equations. So it always going to be a system of linear equations. So Roman figure one, we have to write down the augmented matrix of the above system. So meaning we must write it in matrix form, just like we just did right now. And then secondly, we have to solve for x in the above system. So we're going to use the coefficient to solve for the value of x. It may sound even more complicating. It may sound even more complicated that I'm saying it right now, but hear me out. There's nothing to worry about. So let's do this, ne? Let's do this together. We're gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna try to find an ideal question, and then we'll do that one, then we'll be done for today. As that. I'm Mr. Maimane. Welcome to Simplified RSA. Let's do this. Like I say right now, I can name this equation one, I can name this equation two. You won't be required to write any system of equations in matrix form if the matrix doesn't suit to be written in a matrix form. I'm saying this because here you have y is equals to 1, here you have x plus 2y is equals to 0. Somehow, mathematically, you know that here you could have 0x plus y to be that. So if I was to write this in matrix form, this would then be the coefficient of, for the top one first, the coefficient of x would be 1, the coefficient of y is 2, and then for the below one, the coefficient of x is 0. So even though it was not represented, I know that I have 0x here plus y, which is 1, and then this should give me 0 and 1. So this is me writing this in matrix form. So already I have answered question 1. You see, I have answered question 1. And now, we'll call this the first row. This is row 1. I'm just adding an information unnecessarily so because we're going to answer question 2 as well. This is the first row, R1. This is the second row, R2. Row 1, row 2. Column 1, column 2, column 3. Row. So I have 2 rows and 3 columns in my matrix. Now, to answer question 2, which says I must solve for x, I must solve for the value of x, but only using the matrices. It means now I'm going to have to somehow manipulate the 2 to be a 0, such that I only have x. So meaning if I was using these equations, I would say I have to manipulate the 2y to be 0 so I can have the value of x only. That's how I would have solved for x. But then to solve number 2, now this is the part where it may seem complicated, but it's not. I'm going to command it like this. I'm going to say my first row is going to be yield from 2 times row 1. 2 times row 2, because I want to manipulate it here by 2. I'm going to say 2 times row 2 minus row 1. It's going to be my new. So meaning what I'm doing here, I'm not changing anything from the second row. I'm writing the second row as it is. I'm happy with the second row because already the second row, it tells me that the value of y is 1, but I have to solve the value of x. But to solve the value of x, I have to manipulate the second row, and then I have to manipulate the second row by multiplying it by 2, and then I subtract the first row. Let's do this. 0 times 2 is 0. Minus 1 is going to be minus 1. 2 times 1, or rather I can look at it from here. 2 times 1, it doesn't matter whether I look at it from here or I look at it from here. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So now my first row is yield from 2 times row 2, and then I subtract row 1. That's my new row 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 0 is going to be positive 2 again. I'm happy. But now, if I was to assign the value x again as a coefficient, here I have minus x, yet I have to solve for x in a positive way, meaning I can divide by negative 1 to have a positive x. Still, I'm commanding the rows. I'm happy with my second row. Look at this. Now, I will say row 1 now is yield from row 1 divided by minus 1. I just want to make this a positive. I hope everyone is still with me on this one. So I'm manipulating row 1 such that I don't want to have a negative 1 here. I want to have a positive 1. So then I will say, let me write row 2 as it is because I'm happy with it the way it is. But the first row, I will divide by minus 1 because the new row 1 must be yield from row 1 divided by minus 1. Minus 1 divided by minus 1 is positive 1. 0 divided by minus 1 is 0. 2 divided by minus 2. 2 divided by minus 1 is minus 2. So now I have my values. Is x 0, 0, y. So it is safe for me to say the value of, I can start with the value for the bottom one. The value of y is 1. And the value of x, which I was required to solve, what would be the value of x? Can you guess it before I say it? The value of x will be -2, exactly like that. So the value of x is -2. As you can see, this line here, this solid line here represent the equal sign. So its coefficients, equal sign, the numbers that we have after the equal sign. Coefficient, equal sign, the number that you have after equal sign. Even while I'm busy manipulating it, this solid line here represents the equal sign. So it's just coefficients of of the variables you have, and then after your equal sign, which is the solid line in this case, is the number. So that's how you solve for x using matrices. So, ladies and gentlemen, it might have seemed complicated, Mara, that's how you answer this question. You answer it the way I just explained here. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I know that practice makes perfect. Let me look for another matrix that we can both do again together and see if we can find a solution using the very same concept. I'm going to make another video. I'm not going to, I'm trying to avoid having longer videos and stuff because no one has time to sit for an hour for mathematics, even Mr. Smith. Okay. Anyway, this is Simplified RSA. We are the guys who makes it looks easy. Join me again as we proceed on linear algebra and any other topics. While we're still at it, please don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms. For we'll continue doing this every now and then, guys. We'll got your back to make sure that your marks improves and to make sure that you stay updated with the whole academic world. I'm Mr. Maimane, and that's it for today.